Hi, I'm Doyle Bishop with Tulsa Heaters Midstream. On this channel, you can expect to hear about all things related to process heating, but sometimes the topics aren't technical, but most of the time they are, so thanks for joining. Hi, I'm Doyle Bishop with Tulsa Heaters Midstream. Today I want to talk to you about some myths around heaters and what's myth and what's truth. And I'm going to pick a few to discuss, and hopefully there'll be something that you're interested in. First, let's talk about flame. Flame is always something fun to look at. It's one of the few things that people pay attention to when they go on their rounds in a refinery or in a gas plant. And they're looking through a sight port, and they're looking at the burner, and it's a great thing to do, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times we place too much importance on the color of the flame. It depends on what you're burning. Some people think that, hey, if the flame's not blue, it's got to be poor combustion. With natural gas, to a certain extent, that's true. It should be burning mostly blue, but it could easily have yellow tips on the flame and still be burning great. Really, a better indication of the combustion performance would be, hey, what's my CO level? So you can't just say color is all in all. For instance, maybe your fuel's not methane, maybe it's propane. It's pretty difficult to burn propane with a 100% blue flame. In fact, I've not seen it in my career, and I've seen thousands of burners. So don't always use color as your measuring stick for combustion performance. Although with methane, it's not all bad, but you can have some yellow tips with methane as well. That's our first myth. Second myth, this is really interesting. I've heard it before. Hey, we should slow down the fluid flow through the heater so it captures more heat. It sounds kind of right, doesn't it? But let's think about that a little bit. So I'm just going to draw a pipe here. And it's going to have fluid going through, which we're trying to heat. And it's going to have, in this case, I'm going to show radiation heat transfer into that pipe. So you think, hey, if I slow it down here, it can absorb more heat. Well, think about what's going on, okay? If I slow it down, it's lower, mass flow rate's lower, okay? If I slow it down. So yes, there's less mass going through, and so maybe I do transmit more heat because I have less mass going through, and I might have a higher temperature coming out. So in that sense, you're saying, yes, we can slow it down to get a higher temperature. But do we get more heat? Well, the heat is generated by this burner. And so unless you change this burner output, you're not really getting more heat into the fluid, because what happens is I've lowered the mass flow rate, and yes, the temperature does go higher, but I'm not actually putting more heat in the fluid because my burner duty is staying the same. Now the question would arise is, hey, is this a good thing or a bad thing? In a fired heater, it's usually a bad thing, because what we really like is high turbulence in here. If I just kind of open a window on this pipe, and I've got fluid that's going down this guy. I really like high turbulence because I like low film temperatures. So if I slow this down, I get lower turbulence, higher film temperatures, and no one likes that. So in general, we like high velocities, high turbulence, low film temperature. Joining. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like or subscribe to get more information about process heating and Tulsa Heaters Midstream.